Hey guys, we're gonna do a quick little mini lesson on inequalities, and this is something we have not talked about, but I just wanted to give you guys a brief overview because we solve them like equations. The only difference between an equation and an inequality is that in the middle, instead of an equal sign, you have an inequality sign, which are these things. So you might have heard these referred to as alligator mouths. And we read these from left to right, and we show what possible solutions could be for x by shading a number line. So on this first one, we have, or we would read this as x is less than or equal to 3. So on your number line at 3, put a closed circle. Less than or equal to is a closed circle, and then x could be anything less than or equal to 3, so we'll shade our number line to the left to show that x could be anything to the left of 3. For the second one, we read this starting from left to right as x is greater than or equal to 3. So again, we'll have a closed circle because it's greater than or equal to, but we'll shade to the right this time because x could be anything larger than 3. And for these last couple, notice how there is no equal sign, or there's no half of an equal sign underneath our inequality signs. That's just one little difference in how we read this. So for this one, we'd say x is less, goodness, my voice is going out. We'd read that as x is less than 3. So on our number line, we'll shade to the left. And because it's less than 3, we'd have an open circle instead of closed. And then for this last one, we have x is greater than 3, so open circle. And x could be anything larger than 3, so we'll shade to the right. So those are the basics. Now to solve one, we're going to solve this just like an equation. So draw your line through the middle. We do not have parentheses, we don't have to smush, so we can just start by drawing boxes. Box on the left, box on the right. On the left side, we'll have our x's. 3x is already there, we'll bring it down. This x on the right is the same as a 1x, so when we bring it across, that's like a minus or a negative 1x. On the right side, we have a positive 11 already there. Just bring it down. And we need to bring or drag over that 5 across the equal sign, so we would change signs from a plus to a negative because we're bringing it across that line, the equal sign. So to solve this, 3x minus 1x, we're solving that top part, is 2x. And on the right, we've got negative 5 plus 11, which is positive 6. And our last step would be to divide each side by 2. And we would read this as x is less than or equal to 3. All right, we've got 2 more we're going to try. On this one, again, we're solving these like an equation. So this is nothing new, solving equations, but instead of having an equal sign in the middle, we have an inequality sign. So start by drawing your boxes. Again, if we have no parentheses, or if we don't have to smush, which means to combine like terms, then we just draw our boxes. So on the left, we already have a negative 1x. We'll bring it down. On the right, we've got our x, which needs to come across the equal sign, so we'll change that from a positive x to a negative 1x. On the right side now, we have our regular numbers. So 8 is already there, bring it down. And when we bring over this positive 4, there's a plus in front of it, so it's a positive, it would become negative 4. So to solve this, we're just going to combine our top boxes so that we would read that as negative 1x minus 1x, or we could say that as negative 1x plus a negative 1x, totally up to you. So that would be negative 2x. And then on the right, we have negative 4. There's nothing in front of that 8, so that's the same as a plus or positive. So negative 4 plus 8 is positive 4. divide each side by -2, and we would end up with x equals -2. Now, there's one trick on this one you guys need to really be aware of, and that's right here, and you need to fill this in on your notes. If you divide or multiply by a negative, okay, and here we divided each side by a -2, so we divided each side by a -2, then we need to flip that inequality sign in the middle. So instead of reading this down here as x is less than -2, because we divided each side by a negative, we're just going to flip that inequality sign and make that an x is greater than -2. Last one, this is a fun one. We have parentheses. So again, when we have parentheses, that comes first. Parentheses, smush, boxes. So what you need to realize is that there is a 1 right next to those parentheses. So that negative is the same thing as a -1. If nothing's there, it's a 1. So we'll start by getting rid of parentheses by multiplying that -1 times x right here, and the -1 times a positive 8. -1 times x is -1x. -1 times 8 is a -8. So we'll write that as just a -8 to simplify it. On the right, we don't have to change anything. There's no parentheses, nothing to smush. Once we've done our parentheses, there's nothing to smush, no like terms to combine, so we'll draw our boxes and solve that inequality. On the left, -1x is already there. Bring it down. When we bring 2x across, it becomes -2x. Changing the sign, or a -2x, you can say it either way. On the right side, we have a -4, which is the same as a -4. And when we bring over that -8, you got to use the sign in front of it, that would become a positive 8. Now to combine. -1x minus 2x is -3x. 8 minus 4 is 4. Okay, so then we'll divide each side by a -3. You guys know how to do this part. That cancels, and because we divided each side by a negative, we need to flip our inequality sign. So that would become x is less than or equal to -4/3, and that's it. We're done. All right, so I hope this was helpful. I am going to take your notes that you took on this as a grade. So when you're done, please quietly get up and turn them into the period 2 bin in the back, and then we're going to go ahead and do some other stuff. Nice job.